Good morning, people. I thought I'd give you some ideas fresh from the workshop before I forget what really struck me about the workshop with Caroline Myss. She spoke primarily about the mystical truths of the greatest religions in the world and what really helps the soul to transcend the everydayness, which is a really interesting topic for me. And one of the ones she really stayed with was the concept of balance, and how there's a fundamental law of balance. If we become extremely angry, we have to become exhausted. If we become extremely joyful, there's a moment of a low. If we eat too much, we feel we can't eat very much later. So there's this kind of constant balance in our lives. And it struck me how yoga particularly can be very helpful in striking balance in our lives. That actually I was always taught that it's everything in balance, that between the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, we need to find a balance between our material selves and our spiritual selves, between our manifesting current and our liberating current, to find ourselves in a place of balance, or what we can also call sattva, is a very powerful place to be, I think we can really, we can't exaggerate that enough, that it's a powerful place, because when we're in balance, we're in our power, we're able to respond in the moment, in the present moment, to whatever's happening. I'll give you an example. I was out horse riding, which I love to do, as you all know, and my friend who was riding with me was in front of me, and a bird came out of the hedge, so the horse jumped sideways, and of course my friend, he kind of let out a little scream and was like, what was that, and there's no moment to think, there's no moment to respond apart from just what you would normally do. But I found myself not reacting. Now you might say that because I've written a lot, but to me it wasn't. It was simply because of all those years of relaxation on a daily basis has caused a different biofeedback rhythm in my life, where I know what it is to be at deep state of relaxation. That means when something that would be shocking for somebody else happens, we as yogis are able to respond with less anxiety, because our baseline is much, much lower. Our baseline of relaxation, we go so deep in our relaxation that when we come into a state of excitement, if you like, or potential anxiety or potential panic, we don't necessarily respond. Now, that to me is very powerful, because what does that mean in relationship? What does that mean in work circumstances? What does that mean when we're forced to make a choice on the spur of the moment? If we are in our relaxed state and we're forced to make a choice, and then we can make a really wise choice in that very moment. But we are in our amygdala state, then we're going to make the fear choice. And I think this is something that's happening a lot around the world, and that gives us all so much sadness, is this experience, for example, in America, of fear and of this kind of binary understanding of me versus you, us versus them, evil versus good, which is just promulgated by fear. But if we're not in that fear response, but we're in that kind of relatively calm response, then we see all as one, and we see us, like what can I do for the greater good here? What is the meta perspective? We can come into our witness state because we're not pulled down, we're not brought in to that fear state, which so many politicians really buy into. So as one of my dear teachers would say, and actually it was reiterated, but not in so many ways, by Caroline Myss, is cut off the head, actually. Cut off the head. Stop overthinking, stop analysing, stop separating yourself, because the head represents the ego, right? Drop into your heart, and be humble, be deep in your relaxed state where it's all okay, everything's going to be okay, and where you're available to really act from your greater good. I hope that's helpful. I'm going to try and do a few more of these. And I'd love to hear from you soon. Take care, bye.